Welcome to the Needy and Normal podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Levering, mom, wife, and life coach. After hours of coaching and learning from my own life, one thing is clear: meeting your needs is essential for a better life. Here, we'll talk about your needs and not only learn to accept them, but also tend to them without guilt. Let's get needy. Thanks for being here. This is episode 15, Self-Care Permission. I want to talk about something that's super normal in the personal development world. And if you follow me on Instagram, if you follow anyone in the mental health, well-being, self-care world, then just the term self-care is no surprise to you. But what might surprise you is that self-care isn't exactly what the world tells you it is. It's about how you care for yourself. It is individual. It is about you. So let's have some fun. Let's start off with some true or false. Are you ready? Okay. True or false? Self-care is healthcare. True or false? Self-care is not selfish. True or false? Self-care is meant to make you feel guilty. True or false? Self-care is a positive thing. True or false? Self-care is not necessary. Now, tell me those were easy for you, because self-care is healthcare. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not supposed to make you feel guilty. Self-care is positive, and self-care is necessary. Absolutely, totally necessary. Now, if you're here listening to me, you probably are on board with that. You're probably under the impression that taking care of yourself is really, truly important, and you are absolutely 100% right. Let's talk about the facts. Let's talk about what self-care truly is, and let's talk about what it might look like for you. This is from the International Self-Care Foundation. Self-care is what people do for themselves to establish and maintain health and to prevent and deal with illness. This is physical or mental. It is a broad concept encompassing hygiene, generally and personally, nutrition, which is type and quality of food eaten, your lifestyle, which can include sporting activities, leisure, things of relaxation, etc. This includes environmental factors like living conditions, social habits, also socioeconomic factors such as income level and cultural beliefs, and also self-medication. So it is a widespread, all-encompassing concept of how you care for self. And self-care is what I explain as a tool. It is a tool we use to tend to our needs. Something I love doing is the truths, right? The undeniable concepts, which I hope everyone's on board with. So let's talk about 4 truths about self-care. We did a true and false, so let's just continue that on. What self-care looks like to you is defined by you. So that's a truth. Add that to your fact back, okay? So what self-care looks like to you is defined by you. It means you create it. It's personalized. It's personal to you. Another truth: how you design your schedule to fit in daily, weekly, and monthly self-care is your responsibility. Okay? It's up to you to make sure you're doing it. So if you get to the end of the week and you're feeling depleted, what can you do differently the next week to fit in that care for self that you truly, truly need? Speaking of need, this is inarguably a need. Self-care is a need. And if you've followed along and listened to me for a little bit here, you know needs are not to be argued with. They are not negotiable. When you tend to your needs, life gets better. Self-care is a need. Okay, and one more truth. Self-care can feel like a chore. I get that. It can, depending on what it is. Sometimes self-care is as simple as sitting in silence for maybe 1 whole minute, and that doesn't feel like a chore so much, or maybe it does. Maybe it really is hard to just steal yourself from whatever moment you're in when you really truly need that moment. And maybe self-care really truly is a chore, like getting up early and going to the gym, knowing that if you don't go in the morning, that getting to work and after work, you're not going to have the energy to do it, and then you have depleted yourself of that one piece of self-care that is so good for you and that you know is good for you. And you don't have to work out like everybody else. You can work out the way that works for you. This is how self-care is designed. You can get all kinds of suggestions from friends, family, professionals, the world of the World Wide Web, right? But at the end of the day, how you take care of yourself is your responsibility, and it's designed by you. So why do we need this? Why do we need self-care? Why is it so important? Well, it keeps us healthy. It keeps us thriving. It keeps us growing. It helps us continue being a human being. I think the part that is so misconstrued about self-care is that this luxury of self-care has been such a thing that it just feels unattainable. This is where guilt can come in, right? We feel guilty about tending to these needs and calling it self-care because the world around us and possibly other people's opinions have made us feel like it's a luxury. And why would you go do that for yourself? You should continue, the shoulds, right? You should continue working hard and struggling to show your achievements. Listen, struggling doesn't get awards. Taking care of yourself is necessary. It absolutely has to happen. I mean, think about an Olympic athlete. They have to have downtime. They have to have recovery for their muscles. They have to have recovery for their mental capacity. Otherwise, they can't achieve at the highest capacity and reach their highest level of potential without pacing themselves in some way, shape, or form, right? So your self-care could be rest. But if you think about self-care as going to get a massage or getting your nails done or going on that vacation or blowing off work for a day to go do something that your mind needs to do as far as thinking about other things for a minute, sometimes we look at that as putting down our responsibilities or not working as hard as we continuously feel like we need to, right? But the thing is, if you don't pace yourself, your capacity to do all the things you want to do depletes. So self-care is necessary. And so when you feel bad or guilty for taking time away to go do something to take care of yourself, it's not helpful because we've established it is false to think that self-care is selfish. You probably have heard this so many times. It is actually the opposite. If you take care of yourself, you are much better for yourself and for others. So when you do take care of yourself, you are selfless, right? This is how you manage your stress. This is how you lower your risk of illness and increase your energy and just give yourself that overall improved physical health and mental health. So fine, this is my campaign to convince you to take better care of yourself without any excuses. It just is. Taking care of yourself just is. So why am I talking to you about something that seems pretty obvious? You're here for a reason. You're all about the personal development world, but we all need reminders. We need reminders. How often do you get to the end of the week or an end of the month or end of the year and you think, gosh, I wish I would have done this, this, and this more. I wish I would have taken better care of myself in this area. I wish I would have given myself more time to decompress. I never finished that book. I never got that massage. I mean, it's not only a reminder to take care of yourself, but it's a reminder to not get into a place where you regret not doing the things you promised yourself. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but sometimes I look at goal setting differently. I look at it as promise setting, especially when these are, specifically for yourself, not just, the goal, sales goal at work or whatever it is achieving outside of yourself. But when it's things you're trying to achieve for yourself, like let's just call it weight loss or reading that book you promised you would read. I have clients who say, I want to read a book a month, or I want to read 6 books a year, whatever it is. That's a personal goal, right? It's a promise. You can set these promises to yourself in this way of self-care, okay? I promise myself I will go to bed at 10 o'clock every night this week. It's not a punishment. It seems like a chore, but at the end of the day, it's good for you. And when you are giving to yourself and you're tending to that need, you're going to wake up refreshed. You're going to find more capacity and more energy for everything that happens in life and for everyone in it. Think about it. So the next time you think, I'm going to achieve this, that, or the other, look at it differently. Look at it as, this is a little mindset tip too. Look at it as a promise. What do you want to promise yourself you will do better to look out for you?
So let's go back to those truths again. Self-care is defined by you. Self-care is necessary. It is to keep you healthy mentally and physically. It is a need. It may feel like a chore, but your health is non-negotiable. How you design and fit in your self-care throughout your week and month and year is your responsibility. And at the end of the day, you'll be better for it. Also, let me remind you that boundaries are very important when you're establishing your self-care, whether it's a routine or a once a month or a randomly throughout the year thing, whatever it may be. Boundaries matter. Go back and listen to the boundaries episode. That's definitely more with people, but it counts because we also talk about in that episode boundaries with yourself. So you can look at this as, do I choose the apple or the chocolate or both? Or do I go to that thing that, that coworker asked me to do, or that mom at school asked me to do? Or do I stick to this promise I made to myself to go to the gym or go to bed early or sit and read the book, right? So I know for me, and you've heard me talk about this, if I don't tend to certain needs, if I don't take care of myself, and I've figured it out, right? I know how I get depleted. I know what builds my energy back up. I know what makes me feel like I'm my best self. I know what those ingredients are. I know what that looks like. I've had to work at it. I've had to pay attention to it, which I highly recommend. But once you kind of figure out how you tick and how you best take care of yourself, it is your responsibility to build that in. But I will tell you, things like sleep and not getting enough, I talk about this a lot. If I don't get enough sleep, I'm not good for myself. I'm not good for other people. So I make that a priority. I make that a promise to myself. It is absolutely necessary, right? And I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about saying no or saying goodbye on the phone call because sleep is so essential. I know it matters to me. And people who care in my life understand and are very sweet about it. Like, yeah, we got it. Good night. Talk to you tomorrow. See you later. That's fine. But there's other things like certain vitamins I want to make sure I take, certain ways that I like my day to flow. There are certain promises that I will make myself that I will build into my day. When I'm able to do these things for myself, I'm better for me, I'm better for everybody else, and I feel good. And that's why we're here, right? We're talking about your needs because they matter. The more you make these promises to yourself, the more you practice this self-care as being a totally normal thing, the easier it gets, the better it is. So if this is something you struggle with, trust me, you're not alone, first of all. Give yourself all the permission you need right now. Right now, while you're listening to this, just take a deep breath and think, I have permission. I give myself permission to take care of myself. Period. Whether it's better, differently, or continue to take care of yourself, whatever it is, just give yourself that permission right now. If this is something that you struggle with, because that's not an unusual thing to struggle with, I promise you, reach out. This is something I do. I help people take care of themselves. I help people tend to their needs, especially when they're going through changes in life, right? And that's the perfect recipe for ignoring your self-care needs. When you're going through a shift in a career, or you're moving, or it's a shift in the season, like right now, I'm going through the shift from the school year to the summertime. This is the time where you have to tune in and tend to your needs the most. Your self-care is absolutely essential. Okay. And again, that looks however it needs to for you. So give yourself permission for that too. But if you need help with this is right in my wheelhouse. I would love to be there for you. You can reach out through comments on the podcast. You can reach out directly to me at coachlevering@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at ABL Life Coaching. I would love to see you there. And keep listening, keep showing up, because this isn't just for me, it's for you, because your needs matter, because you matter. So take this short and sweet one, go take care of yourself, make that promise, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to the Needy and Normal podcast. If you liked what you heard today, please share this with a friend. And don't forget to leave me a rating and a review, and feel free to reach out. I'm on Instagram at ABL Life Coaching. If you're curious about coaching together, visit ablifecoaching.com.